I worked for the school district back in the early 80s. I was a teacher's assistant or aide or whatever they called me at the time. And there was one young woman, 13-year-old girl, really obnoxious, a lot of attitude and big mouth. And the teacher, bless her heart, recognized the issue and thought that some help might be available. This was at Jordan, and ACS was at Jordan at the time, and sent her off to ACS, and she came back a human. I thought, wow, that's a fabulous agency.
It was a dream of all the board members and all the staff to eventually get what we would call an on-campus counseling program. Because when a young person needs to talk to somebody, they can't wait for an appointment for next Wednesday or something like that. They need to talk to someone now.
The beauty of having ACS come in was when the interns were able to start groups and kids began to understand, well, I'm not the only one whose parents are going through a divorce, you know. I'm not the only kid that has trouble in school. I'm not the only one that feels I can't talk to my mom. You know, there's other kids like that.
ACS is important to me, partly because of my own background. When I was growing up, there were some times when I wished I had an opportunity to work with a counselor or with an older adult. And I think that's true nowadays, probably more so.
Adolescent counseling services is important to me personally for many of the same reasons that I think it's important to our community. It's concrete evidence that our community really cares about our kids.
Compassion. I think compassion is the real one that I appreciate the most. I feel like a student, a teen can approach ACS, can go in with the smallest problem, breaking up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or parents divorcing, or sexual abuse, or death in the family, or suicidal ideation.
When you become aware of the issues and the breadth of the issues, the scope of the issues, you can become overwhelmed and think, there's nothing I can do, what can I do? But this is a way you can do something.
Adolescence is a key time to work with people. In my belief, they're still children, they're working towards becoming adults, and this is the time to reach them and say, we're here for you no matter what you're going through. We can understand it and we'll stay with you and we'll work you through it.
You know, when something such as we've gone through this year happens, in the immediate aftermath, there is always a huge outpouring of help and support. But that can't last forever, and yet the need is huge when you're dealing with the loss of a student. And what ACS has provided for us is that ongoing presence, which has been very reassuring.
I think the importance of ACS to the community is just instrumental. I think not only this past year, but certainly I think we're also aware of the tragedies of this past year, where ACS really stepped up, stepped in, collaborated, coordinated, was just such a vital part of everything going on in the communication for teens, their families, the schools, the police. I mean, sort of you name it, ACS was there, and I think that was really special.
This is just an extremely vital service that we're providing for not only the on-campus counseling, but the substance abuse counseling as well, and now the after-school counseling. I don't see any other agency out there that's providing this type of comprehensive counseling that's so accessible for kids.
This economy that we're in, the world we live in, is not kind to everyone. And there are families who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford these kind of services. ACS is there for them.
This year, as we celebrate the 35th anniversary of the existence of adolescent counseling services, it's incredible and rewarding to look back and think about the thousands and thousands of lives that ACS has touched, both the teens themselves and their family members, and the unknown immeasurable improvement that ACS has made in their lives.
We'll never really know how many lives we have saved, but we've heard from parents even feedback after their kids' time with adolescent counseling services that they appreciate and hold ACS dear because they still have their child.
And you see students and adolescents grow up into their 20s and 30s, and frankly, they will tell you that they wouldn't have made it without ACS.
I mean, if you look at the past, you know, we've seen 35,000 kids. That's 35,000 lives that we've changed. So imagine what tomorrow will bring. I mean, you know, it's going to be another 35,000 lives changed because of ACS and the work we've done in the community.